My peoples, my peoples. Good day, my peoples. I wanted to come in and talk to y'all about something that just hit me while I was sitting right here in my van thinking. Okay, so check it out while it's on my mind. I was sitting back thinking, and I was hearing a lot of people say that your child would always be with you. It's a lot of people that will give you that. They'll say that. I don't think they know to the extent that they're talking that they say that with. So, as I'm sitting right here in my van, and I'm thinking to myself, and I say, yeah, he will always be with me. Okay, yeah. Now let me tell you this right here. The reason why I use me in my circumstance is solely placed on the fact that I've personally lost a child. So when I speak, I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm not telling anyone how to do anything or forcing anyone to believe the way that I believe. I'm not doing none of that stuff, okay? I'm just telling you my experience. Let's keep it right there. Okay, so anyway, when people tell you that your loved one is with you, in my case, my son is with me, that is true. But they when they say it in the wrong fashion, in my opinion. They say it in the wrong fashion. They say that your loved one would always be with you. They always be in your heart. You see what I'm saying? And that right there, if you're looking at it on the surface, again, once you get to like a spiritual realm of thinking, you have to rethink your vocabulary and what you're saying. So I'm not trying to be here nitpicking about the choice of words that you use, knowing what you're trying to say, because that knowing what you're trying to say is what you actually need to be saying. But nonetheless, like when they tell you these things, your child would always be with you. They will always be in your heart. That right there is true to a degree. That child is with you in your spirit. You see what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. That right there goes over so many people's head because it's said to them so frequently when they lose a loved one. Your loved one would always be with you. They still with you in spirit. They with you in spirit. Now, let me tell you something. That part is true. That part is true. They are with you in spirit. And here's the problem. And this is what I figured out. I figured this out, y'all. Let me tell you what I figured out. My son was with me in spirit. And he sure was. He was. I just couldn't see it because of the turmoil that was going on at the time. You see what I'm saying? So the problem was he was always there in spirit. You wasn't there to be able to see him. I wasn't there to be able to see him in spirit. My spirit was gone. You know what I mean? I didn't have a spirit to be able to see that he actually never really even went nowhere. If you pay attention and stop focusing on his body and pay attention to his spirit, you will see that he never went nowhere. He was still with you. And it was later on that I started thinking about that right there. So when people say that they'll always be with you in your heart. No, they'll always be with you in spirit. But see, here's the thing. We so spiritually low. We so spiritually malnutritious that we don't even see it. We don't see it. And that's the way that this thing works. When you looking out the eyes of the spiritual. Okay? That's the way that right there works, man. When you looking out the eyes of the spiritual, you see, look, I told you, when you're looking out the eyes of the spiritual, you see things totally different. You cannot expect to be on different spiritual frequencies and expect to meet on the same plane. It doesn't work that way in spirituality. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way in spirituality. Y'all don't, it just doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? So in order for you to be on the spiritual level, you got to be on like this really high level. You know what I'm saying? Of vibration. You got to be on a really high level of vibration in order to know this right here. In order to be able to see this. But because you went to that funeral, because you seen that coffin, because you seen the last time your loved one was laying there, because you seen that coffin go on the ground, because you looking at hearses and had to do obituaries, you looking at family cards, everybody coming by giving you they condolences and stuff like that, which in many cases, because your energy is so low, people try to console you, but their energy is low and you're picking up on that energy as well. So you would never be able to see them in this spiritual realm that they just went to with your mind like that. I just sat here and thought about that and just learned that right there, man. This is why we need to get back to our spiritual selves, because see, we done been trying to find, I've been trying to find where I'm at. I've been trying to find this place for a long time. Where I'm at right now, at least right up here, I've been trying to find this place for a very long time. And you know what? It was certain things, certain people that had to be taken away from me in order for me to sit back and ponder. Because when I tell you, and I'm still doing it right now as we speak. Right now as we speak, it took many days of really hard thinking. And when I'm telling you that right there is what that they say mean doing the work. You got to sit back and you got to ponder on everything. And there is no lies to be told in that. You know what I'm saying? The truth will be revealed to you, whether you accept it in a good way or a bad way. But whatever it is going to be revealed to you. And it's going to be revealed to you through you. You just got to connect back with you and stop allowing these low vibrational things to mess with your spirit. Because what happens is it pulls the energy from you being able to connect with your spirit. You see what I'm saying? It pulls the energy from you to be able to connect with your spirit. You would never be able to see the grandmother that passed that you were so close to. You ain't gonna be able to do it. Your energy too low. They don't live down here on this energy no more. And physically, you know that because you went to the service. That's right. You was in that big crowd of people that cried harder and harder the louder and louder that organ played. Yeah. We was all doing it. You think I'm playing about the energy that comes with going to a funeral service? Look around and pay attention to the people that's around you when that music get to playing and when it's not playing. Pay attention. See, that's the stuff that you got to pay attention to. You see what I'm saying? Because when you pay attention to it and you know, you're going to start looking at them funeral services a little different. When you know that, when you say, hey, wait a minute, next time you go to a funeral, you pay attention to the people that's around you that don't know what I'm telling y'all right now. And pay attention to the people around you. And look at how low their energy is. And you would say that it's designed to do that. Now, like I said, this right here is no shade to the funeral home directors or funeral home people or nothing like that. I'm simply talking about energy and spirituality. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing that have to go with anybody's funeral services. And if you still feel the need to have to do that, hey, that's on you. I'm telling you what I seen when I went into other funeral services and stuff like that. And that even include my son's funeral service for that matter. That's what it was designed to do. So just think about this right here for a minute, because when you know this stuff right here, hopefully you could, readjust so you can stay with your spirituality on this right here. Okay. Let's talk about what we know. Okay. Let's talk about what we know physically. And y'all can share this video. If y'all can hear me, put some likes up if y'all can hear me and share the video. But listen, here's where you can start at on what we do know. And let's start on the light end. Let's start on the physical end, okay? On the physical end of life, okay, you've seen this person physically. Physically, we all know that we are going to die. Because spiritually, you don't. You never die, spiritually. But this is what we know on the physical end. Physically, we know everybody gonna die. If you hear somebody say that, you know they talking about physical at this point now. At the sound of my voice, you know from this point forward, if you hear somebody say that everybody gonna die, one day everybody gonna die, you know that they are now talking about the physical. They are not talking about the spiritual. What is the spiritual? That voice in your head. Don't undermine that. That voice in your head that tell you every single thing that you know. That little tiny voice that you hear all day, every day. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different. So anyhow, so this is what we know. Now that we know that everybody's going to die, we know that we're going to set up the funeral arrangements. Don't nobody want to ask about the funeral arrangements because it's too soon. That person's still hurt. You see what I'm saying? Meaning that that person vibration is low. So the more and more hurt they get, the further and further they fall from the from spiritual vibration, right? So now you start talking about the medical examiners. Now you got to start talking about obituaries, where you got to start going through, looking through photos and pictures. Do you get where I'm going with this right here, y'all? We still ain't made it to the funeral yet. We got people that got to put they words and what they want to put inside the obituary. Do you get where I'm going? Now, you got to go into the funeral home with this stuff. You got to make the arrangements with the people. They're going to walk you inside this room with coffins. Where you think your energy is going? In some cases, they do. You know, yeah. And so, not only that, after you get done with this right here stuff, before you even leave that funeral home, your loved one, you got to sign them over. You got to sign them over to the funeral home. They not going to go pick them up from the morgue until you do it. Okay? What do you think is happening to your energy all while all this stuff is going on? Because you are seeing this stuff physically. Now, I'm just going down the procedure on what typically happens when you have to go bury a loved one. Because I had to go through it. And fortunately for me, somebody took care of the funeral part with the funeral home. But I did this right here with other loved ones. So I know exactly what happens. Then you got to talk to the people at the cemetery. You're talking to the people at the cemetery now. Your energy is shot. Your energy is gone, right? But what's keeping you really afloat typically would be the people around you in the upward spirit. Nothing wrong with the people that come and rub you on your back and say, baby, everything gonna be all right. I understand, or I don't understand. I just can't imagine what you're going through. Not just that. I'm talking about the other people that keep it. That right there stuff helps you out. It does. I'm not gonna lie. But see, here's the thing. You got a gap in between the day that it happened and the time that you make the funeral arrangements, right? All that right there is going to be turmoil. All that you ain't going to be able to see from here in front of your hand. Okay? You're going to be too much. It's going to be too much. Okay? But between the time that you made them funeral arrangements and the funeral, let's just say when you got ready to make those funeral arrangements, let's say you didn't make them. Let's just say that if you didn't make the funeral arrangements, y'all just remember this person the last way y'all seen them. Do you know how much faster that healing process would start? But it didn't start that way. When that healing process got ready to start, you had some chill out days in between them 2 weeks, typically week and a half, 2 weeks that after the funeral service is made. In between that time, you was somewhat trying to heal. You was trying to collect yourself. It wasn't like it was on day one. Tell you that. It wasn't like it was on day one for many, not all. But here's what happened. When the flame was starting to go down in between the time you made them funeral arrangements and the day of the funeral, what you did was threw gas on the fire, which is what we typically do. This is what we know we do. This is what we know. And you go to the funeral and now you all the way back up here now. You know what I'm saying? If it was something tragic, your mans and whoever the people is there, they mad, they hot, they ready to make a move. You know what I'm saying? Hey, families spread apart. After that right there, you start disagreeing with this person, that person start disagreeing with that person. I'm talking about it becomes a big mess. You see what I'm saying? And you focus on all the mess and all the trauma and all the drama. Guess what? All that stuff is holding your energy down and you never recognize it. So when these people start to tell you that at that time, while all that trauma and stuff going on, when people start to tell you that he's going to always be with you, God is always with you, and just let Jesus do, you don't hear none of it. You can't hear none of it. With these ears, you can hear it. But spiritually, it's like, man, listen, I'm not trying to hear none of that right now. And you're not, because you're not in that spiritual place. And that place right there is where you will be at for a very long time. If you keep thinking about the physical. So when spiritually, when I noticed that he started to come to me and stuff like that, it was really intriguing to me because I was always tried to figure out how can I get my son to come back? How can I get my son to come back and see, I had to go with what I knew at that point. And what I knew and what I had to go with was I can't see him on the physical side. I have to go look for him in other places. Nobody never told me that. But in order for me to go look for him in other places, and while I'm looking for him in other places, guess what? He was right here inside me the whole time. But I was looking in other places for him. You see what I'm saying? And so when you keep yourself in that deep sorrow, grieving type of area, that's because you want to be there. In my opinion, that's what came in my mind. Sir, now that you know about this, now that you know that he's always with you, to keep thinking about this person on the spirit, on a physical level, you are only hurting yourself. This is what came to me. And you know what, y'all? It came to me at a time when I was at my lowest. I'm talking about my lowest. It's like, man, could you hurt me anymore? Thank you. Thank you for just giving me the doggone truth. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and I couldn't even fight with myself about that when it said that, man. I couldn't even fight with myself with it. At that point, when I knew, when I knew that he was with me spiritually, because I hit that point one time, and you can only hit that point. You can only see these people that have went to the other side of life if you are on that side with them. You see what I'm saying? It's a frequency thing, man. Once I found that out, it was like, okay, that same voice, now you know. No matter how I felt at the time, okay? No matter how I physically felt at that time, once it clicked in and I actually got it, it was like, okay, now you finally know to go back to the physical, you will be doing a disservice to yourself at that point. And that's what we tend to do. And that's what I'm sharing with y'all. And I know it's hurtful and that right there, when I was at my bottom, man, I was at my bottom when I got that message, and I still had to dissect that right there. You know what I'm saying? So to put it in perspective, you know what I'm saying? To make it a little bit more clear if I wanted to use that, use that right there in an analogy, it'd be like this right here. Let's say we take, we do, adult Easter egg hunt, right? Let's do it like that. And let's just say I got 20 eggs out there, and let's just say one of those eggs hold a grand prize of $20,000, right? Now, here's what happens as an analogy to what I'm saying. Here's what happens. You go and you look behind the tree. The tree is physical now. The tree is physical. You don't see no egg behind this tree. Now somebody come by and cut that tree off. And you go look behind the stump. Still see no egg. And you still go back there again. And you still see no egg. Every time you go back there and see no egg, you are getting angry, you're getting mad, you're getting frustrated, you ain't trying to look nowhere else. But you still expecting to go find the egg in the same spot where you just looked. And you're getting mad at yourself for not finding the egg, and you steady going back to the same spot. Well, that right there was the way I perceived it when when my spirit told me that, hey, if you keep on focusing on that physical end, you're going to keep getting the same result. You're going to keep feeling down. You're going to keep getting angry. You're going to keep getting frustrated. You're going to keep losing your energy. You're not going to be able to move. It's going to be sometimes when the smallest thing might be the spark to the stick of dynamite that you got in you. You hold a whole bunch of anger. All that stuff is not healthy for you, man. Not for the physical. That's not healthy for the physical. So you cannot do this right here. There's no way that you can do this right here if you can't learn to detach from the physical. That's what you got to do. You got to learn how to detach from the physical. And see, the reason why I felt like it was so hard for me to do that earlier on, before any of this tragedy and stuff right here happened, the reason why it was so hard for me to do it is because I was looking for it in all these other places. So what would I do? I go to the Kingdom Hall, see what they talk about, see if anything that they say reside with me. I wouldn't dismantle the word, but I will tune in. I done went to that church. I done went to this church. I done went to that church. None of that stuff resided in me. I was looking for what I was looking for that was already with me on the outside of me. And you know what? It's not only just in me. It's in every single person that my voice reached. You got it too. You got it too. And see, it was hard for me to connect with that because in going to all those different places, they were dancing around different verses and stuff like that. They would call out Job. They'll call out Matthew. They'll call out Timothy and 2 Corinthians and all this other stuff right here, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, because I'm going to tell you something. For the people that don't know themselves spiritually, this is what I had to learn. When I didn't know myself spiritually, and I'm still learning myself spiritually right now as we speak. This is why I'm telling y'all right now in real time. Learning yourself spiritually, it pulls you, it gave me an understanding of why I wasn't getting that message in the church. It gave me the reason why. And that right there reason being is because when you, for a person that's lost, they need examples of how to get to that area. So you go to school or church. You're learning from a book. See, the stuff that I'm telling y'all, I didn't learn this stuff out no book. This is what I went through. I still have had yet to open up the book. So maybe some of the things that I'm saying, they probably might go inside the Bible and then break what I'm saying down and then reference the Bible to it. But the stuff that I am telling y'all is what happened to me. It didn't come from the Bible. It didn't come from me going to break down on my knees and talking about Jesus this and Jesus that. It didn't happen that way for me. You see what I'm saying? It came back from sitting back and really, really looking at life when a lot of stuff is taken from you. It's like you're losing everything. It feel like you're losing everything. When you feel like you're losing everything, you have no other choice but to sit back. You got two choices. You can sit back and you can analyze what's going on and you can take accountability and adjust, or you can ignore it. And you can put on a fake facade on your physical that nobody's seeing. You can dress it up. You can put on a jewelry. You know what I'm saying? You can put the grills in your mouth, or you can put the lipstick on and a perfume or the cologne, whichever suits what. And you can mask that stuff. You can put on the makeup, the eyeshadow, the everything, the eyelashes, the hairs. You can do all that stuff to shadow who you really are. And it means absolutely nothing, because that spirit is going to always let you know the truth. And the thing about it is only you going to know that truth, because it ain't speaking to nobody but you. That can't nobody else hear your spirit or what your spirit is telling you on the outside of you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So why would you go on the outside of you to connect with your spirit? It's already in you. You just got to know. Do you understand? You just got to know. And when you know, then everything that you used to know, it's hard to let that go. It's hard to let that thought go. That process that you used to go through, that you done been trained on your whole entire life, it's hard to let that go. It's very hard to let that go. And this right here is how people get caught up in that trap, man. I don't want people to get caught up in that right there, man. Losing my son was really tough. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Losing my son was very, very tough. That was a very tough blow. You know what I'm saying? It was a situation that was sat in my lap that had to make me sit down and rethink some stuff. It forced me to sit down and think about some stuff. And when I tell you it forces you to sit down and think about some stuff, you can't move if you wanted to. I'm talking about you can't physically move. Your spirit, your energy will get drained so low. I ain't gonna say your spirit. I'm gonna say your energy, because the way I calculate the energy and the spirit is two different ways. Okay. But your energy will be so low, man, you won't be able to move, because at this point you are forced to sit there and think about it. When you move, whatever gas you had whatever little gas you had in your energy, whatever that was, when you get to wherever you got to go to do whatever you got to do, it's going to be like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. All your energy just dissipate. The little energy that you use to get there, it's almost like you ain't going to have enough energy to get back. So you forced to really sit down spiritually and really think about this type of stuff. Have a flashback on your life. Look back at certain things. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, when you do that right there open up the floodgates to everything else that's around you. And that includes the people that's around you. The people that you hang with, the people that you smoke with, the people that you drink with, the people that you gossip with, the people you go to church with, the people that you see at the store, the people you see at the gas station, malls, the freeways, whatever, whoever you come in contact with, I'm telling you, once this right here is lit up and you're going to start seeing the physical, and you may start seeing death the same, differently. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is not to say that if somebody passes that you ain't supposed to have feelings and all that other stuff. Only thing I'm saying is pay attention to your energy. That's it. I ain't telling nobody how to act and how to respond. Pay attention to your energy. You see what I'm saying? The people with the lowest energy, they will show you that it's in their lowest energy. Listen to people at that time, because you're expected to be vulnerable. That's another thing. Some people know that you are expected to be vulnerable at that time. And some people come in to specifically manipulate that part right there, your vulnerability. But if you spiritually connected, you will be able to peep that. If you're not spiritually connected and you just physically connected, your energy is so low, you can't even grab on to it. But it's somebody around you who energy ain't as low, who won't allow that to happen to you. See what I'm saying? They ain't gonna let nobody take advantage of you because they see what's going on. See? That's a greater light. That's what we got to start paying attention to. And get out all this physical stuff right here, y'all. We got to start moving forward, because that right there really holds you back. It stops the grieving process. The healing process. You know what I'm saying? Going through these traditional memorials and all this other stuff. Hey, when you remember that person, that's because that person that came to you. It's not just really so much of a mere memory. You know what I'm saying? It's you spiritually going back to revisit that moment. You can do that. You see what I'm saying? And you do it all the time. You could, so that's why that's what I learned, that in dealing with the death of my son physically, that spiritually, yeah, he's still with me. So I can revisit any moment I want to, at any point in time I want to, and it will feel like that moment at that time. But you got to be there. You got to be focused there, and you got to be spiritually adjusted to be able to receive that. And if you're not receiving that, then, and you can't be scared of it. Stop. See, what I'm learning, I'm still learning to do this right here, y'all. I'm still learning to do this. If I see an image of my son sometime when it's least expected, I got that thing where, you just flinch. Like something just caught you off guard and make you jump. Not that you're scared, it just make you flinch. You see what I'm saying? In the beginning, I was doing that a lot. But now it's more so like, okay, I see you over there. You know what I'm saying? I see you over there. You know what I mean? I see you over there, boy. And then you can hear him. Man, yesterday was the first time I meditated in my life intentionally. You know what I'm saying? It was the first time I meditated in my life. Man, about maybe, give it about 20 seconds in. Man, I could see him. My eyes was closed, but I was focusing with my eyeballs, with my physical eyes. Man, I seen him with my physical eyes, with my eyes closed. So I was meditating, and it was like, this time he didn't go away. This time he didn't go away, y'all. I was like, man, listen, that right there, man, it hit me so hard, and I didn't want him to go away because I was about to start crying, right? But I had to keep my eyes closed and keep meditating. Man, that felt so good. That felt so good. I had never meditated before in my life, ever. And, just listening to that spirit that was in me, it was like, man, meditate. It told me to go by the water and meditate. I went by the water to meditate because that's what it told me to do. And it was telling me that for a reason. It was because if I would have stayed probably at home, somebody would have came by and grabbed my attention in some other way. I needed to be by myself at that point. See, and I recognized that right there. And I just went with the flow. Didn't ask no questions. I just went with the flow. You see what I'm saying? When I tell you that worked out, that worked out. So it's getting better and better. I will say, I can't not even, knock or deny that. It's getting better. It's getting better. It is getting better. But that right there is as long as I'm, connected to my spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, knowing this right here, the only thing I haven't tried yet, was, you can do this right here. I've been trying to figure out, I know you do this right here mainly when you sleep or if you're meditating. What I'm trying to figure out how to do is do it while I'm like us. You know what I'm saying? Like us. How do you do it like us? And so let me tell you what I came up with. How do you get in that moment where the loved one that you were with that passed on and you want to get in that moment, you know what I'm saying, with them? How do you get that feeling? Let's say you meditate, right? You close your eyes, get in a place by yourself. Okay. You don't need nobody else around you. If you trying the quicker, I think that's probably why he came to me as quick, because I was by myself. But you could probably do this right here around, what you do is you grab a good memory, or what we call memory. You just going back in your spiritual files, and you go back in your spiritual files and you do what we call daydream and sit in that moment. You could do that physically. And that's how you gonna see him, because that every time I tried to do that right there is where I seen him the most. They call it daydream. No, you literally, if you can see it without these eyes, you are using your spiritual eyes, y'all. Them are your spiritual eyes. If you can see it without looking at it physically with your eyeballs, those are your spiritual eyes right there. So now think about this right here. Knowing that right there, if you could think about to how many people that you have lost in your past physically, if you could think back to those people and think back to a moment, there they go. That's it. And it might sound crazy, it might sound simple and everything, but that's just the way it works. When you on that realm, you understand that right there. You know what I'm saying? It don't sound crazy to you when you on that realm. When you're not on that realm, it might sound a little crazy to you. And I understand, get it, because I'm pretty sure at some point in time in my life, somebody tried to come and tell this to me, but I wasn't there. So it sounded crazy and I wrote it off and, probably laughed about it and joked, or here come the religious people again. But, now you see a different angle from it, because, now I see a different angle from it because I stopped looking for that stuff on the outside of me. And when I looked for it on the inside of me, that's where I found it. I found it on the inside of me. Again, because when y'all told me to go to God to do it, you told me that I had to go through Jesus to do it. You told me to go to Jesus. That's an entity on the outside of me. I'm not speaking against Jesus or nothing, because Jesus is a tool that's used to help you get to the part to where I'm going. The journey that y'all see me on, Jesus is a tool to get to that point. Some people don't understand what I'm saying, because see, to me, it's like it's almost normal. I've been doing this my whole life. It's just this point right here. It's like I'm actually looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Tapping into it, so to say. You know what I mean? But yeah, after you see that right there, you know that you no longer need to be a part of a congregation of people. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to get there. You would then become the teacher to teach other people on how to get there. But notice that I haven't said anything about anything religious in my path, in which way that I was going. You know what I'm saying? Or which I've was coming from. I've said nothing about anything religious or nothing like that right there. And that's the part that I'm talking about. We got to get back to that part right there, y'all, because that right there, your life is in turmoil because you haven't connected back with that part right there. My life was in turmoil when I wasn't connected with that part, and I knew it. I knew it. Not that because I wasn't connected with my spirit like that, you know what I'm saying? But I knew my stuff was in turmoil. I knew stuff wasn't going right. You know, not to my liking. And so when I went in and found myself, then things started to change. When I started to look and say, wait a minute, now that you know this right here, would you still, if I knew this, what I knew now, and I had to do it all over, my reaction probably would be totally different. I reacted like that of a physical being at that time when it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like that of a physical being that lost their physical child. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't at that place. Now, where I'm at now, if I was at this place then, I would have understood. Now that right there is not to say that it still won't hurt, because you still physical, you still human, right? You still physical. So that don't turn off your emotions. That don't turn off your feelings. That don't turn off your grief. It don't turn off your sadness. It don't turn off none of that stuff, okay? Let's get that straight right now. It don't turn off none of that stuff. However, what it does do is it help you look at the situation from a different lens and help you cope with some type of working mechanism to get yourself out that rut. You see what I'm saying? And that's the best coping mechanism that you probably gonna get. Now, for those that's not as spiritually connected, then yeah, you might need to go to church. You might need to go to the mosque or the Kingdom Hall or wherever you go to, you know what I'm saying? And again, that right there is not a knock against that, because if you are there, then that right there is where you are supposed to be, because at that point in time in your life, that is your path, and that's not for me to judge. You know what I'm saying? Your path is your path. So when I start paying attention to my path, and that's what you're going to have to do, because sitting in silence for a very long time, it causes you to focus on your path. You ain't worried about what just happened to them guys around the corner shooting dice. You ain't worried about them people in their path when you sitting in your moment. You know what I'm saying? To yourself, by yourself, where you don't have no outside distractions. And if you quiet enough, you can't hear but one voice, and that's that spiritual voice talking to you. That's what I'm talking about, tapping into him or her, because that is who you are. You are not this physical part, okay? You are that spiritual part, man. And I'm not no pastor, no minister, or none of that other stuff. So don't, what I'm talking about is different. Or it might be the same. But from the area that I'm coming from the book of Jerome. Okay? This right here is chapter 1. And how many videos is this? This chapter 1, verse 1, 2. This is my third one. Chapter 1, verse 3, right here. And Jerome thou said, you know what I mean? You get it? So, we're going to try to stay in our moment, man. That's what we're going to try to do. We're going to get back to recognizing who we are. And we're going to stay in our moment, man. And once you recognize who you are and you get into that spiritual being of who you are, you got to care for that person, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you the other side of that. Remember, I told you, I've tried to be as transparent as I can, with this right here. I try to be as transparent as I can from my area. Everything I say is from my area. It's not for y'all to say, well, you can't tell me this and you can't tell, oh, it don't work like this. This is from my area. One thing that you don't want to do, because the same energy that I'm telling you that you tapping into, when you get quiet, that could be an evil energy, and you will know because it'll tell you. It'll tell you. Man, listen, y'all ever seen that them cartoons, man? Like you be having, look, you're gonna have a you over here on this shoulder right here with the devil and the pitchfork, and then you're gonna have another you over here with the little circle around their head, the little gold circle ring, you know what I'm, the halo. You know what I mean? That really happens. You know what I'm saying? If spiritually, that really happens because when you get to that point right there, when you know that that's spiritually happening, on the physical end, my mind is telling me one thing, but my body is telling me a different. You see what I'm saying? My mind's telling me, but my body's, you see what I'm saying? That right there, your body, that's going to be the one with the pitchfork. Your mind is going to be the one with the halo. Look at it from that perspective if you got to. You know what I mean? Because that right there really does exist. If you get spiritual enough, you'll hear it. One part of you will tell you, man, I'm about to do this right here. The other part will say, man, don't do that, man, because you know it ain't right. And then the other part is going to tell you, yeah, you know it ain't right, but forget it. They did it to you. You know what I'm saying? They ain't say nothing when they did it to you. You see what I'm saying? You go through with it, and it probably didn't make you feel no better than, you know what I'm saying? And if it did make you feel better to get your lick back, guess what? Then that mean that you was just as evil as them. Y'all was on the same frequency. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was on the same level of frequency. You see what I'm saying? When you use that type of power to get back at somebody, but you ain't even know it though. That's the thing. You didn't even know it. But you know it now. You know it now. Because that power that I'm telling you about, if I was an evil person that tapped into that power, I could use that same power for evil. And guess what? I still be able to see my son. I still be able to go back into those memorable moments. I still be able to do everything that I could do if I had been looking at it through a good lens. But where do your energy go at that point too? Because now you got to factor in your energy along that spirit though. So now you got to factor your energy in. So yeah, if let's just say for instance, your spirit, because your spirit is your guidance. And that's not to say that your spirit would always guide you in ways which the physical would perceive good or bad. But let's just say the spirit say, hey, go rob that bank. This is where the energy kick in at. If that energy on that spirit to go rob that bank is really high, it's a good chance you're going to fall through with that. See, this right here is where you make your calculations at. Yourself going to give you the answer to that. This is how you make your decisions and your guidance. This right here is how you guide yourself, y'all. This is what I've been doing. This is how I guide myself. So let's just say my mind tell me to do something, right? Or my spirit tell me to do something. At that point, I focus on my energy toward that thought. If I got a high energy toward that thought, then it's a good chance that I can act on that. If that energy is low toward that thought, that's like, nah, I ain't doing that. See, that's how that go. That's why I say I use the energy and the spirit in a different level. But see, you got to find balance in between that. You see what I'm saying? Because while you talking to somebody, you could be looking at their spirit while they talking to you and everything, and you'll want to interject, and you can't do it. You ain't gonna be able to interject. You got to listen to them. That's what you got to do. You got to listen to them so you can fully see where their energy is and what they are saying. Because what they are saying is coming from the spirit. You hear it physically, but what they are saying, the meaning behind what they are saying typically lies in their spirit. So this right here is what they mean by when they say that you can lie with the mouth, but, well, you know the saying, I don't know the saying, but you can lie with the mouth, but that the spirit don't lie. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it goes. That's what I came up with on my own. For my own understanding. Remember they said, don't lean upon your own understanding? Don't do it then. Don't lean upon your own understanding. I'm 40 years old. I'll be 41 this year. And I've been leaning upon my, on other people's understandings for over 40 years. And when I leaned upon my own understanding, this is what I came up with. And again, it didn't take for me to have to go read a book in order to do it. Again, that right there is to not throw no shame for the ones that do have to do it, because different people learn differently. So they might have to do that to learn. No problem with that. Long as it gets you to the promised land. Long as it gets you to where you understand who you are. I don't care how you get there. You could throw smoke signals. You could put it in a bottle and float it across the river. I don't care how you get the message. I don't care. That's not my position on telling you what method you go by using by getting the message. But when you finally do get it, then you then, by telling your story, such as I'm not, by default, you kind of like become the teacher in this stuff right here, man. I didn't never want to look at myself as being a teacher in this, but by me telling my story, hopefully, man, that like for real, I hope it helps somebody. That's why I be telling y'all, share this stuff right here, man, with somebody that just lost a loved one or lost a loved one, somebody that can't get up out that rut. You know what I'm saying? That's at that low area. It's like if you in like a low area, you can't move, you can't get around, you can't think straight, your mind cloudy. You know what I'm saying? You having negative thoughts. All type of stuff like that. Yeah, show them, man, show them. Let them see it. You don't need my permission to share it. You just share it. You just do it. Just share. You know what I mean? Let everybody know. Everybody knew it when my son passed. Everybody knew about it then. So let me go back to the spirit part. And talking and energy. So when the people are talking, you listening to their spirit, but you paying attention to their energy. Okay? You paying attention to their energy. So the words that come out their mouth, that's how you know that they had, it came out, you sassy. Oh, you nasty. Oh, you trifling. Only thing they did was say something. Oh, you trifling. See, you listen to what they saying, but you judging their spirit. You don't know that you're doing that. You're not judging their body. You're judging their spirit. You know? And so when you're doing this right here, in order to gauge where the spirit is, this got to be closed. And it got to be closed under the heaviest circumstance, under the heaviest, for the biggest end, if you can hold it. That point where you about to interject, at that point, that's when you don't say nothing. Because at that point, self-discipline kicks in. See, you got to have self-discipline in order to do this right here as well. You can't just sit back and just think about it. You got to have self-discipline. This stuff got to be worked on. This stuff got to be practiced. And this right here ain't something that you could practice overnight. You see what I'm saying? That's why when I tell you that for the people that try to act like this right here, you can't act. You can't act. You cannot act this right here out. You can't act it out. This is something that will have to be practiced over a period of time. And after you practice it, you know it now. So you can't even act like it no more. You see what I'm saying? You know it now. By default, you actually know it. By trying to practice it out just to see. You know what I'm saying? Good. Now you found it. You know what I'm saying? Now you found it. And so, like I said, man, that right there is going to tell you more about the person than what's actually coming out their mouth. And that's why I say the energy ain't going to lie. The energy ain't going to lie. The spirit ain't going to lie. It's not, because the energy moves from within. That energy can go one way or the other. That energy, the way that energy flowed, it didn't flow by what you heard with your physical ears. You see what I'm saying? That was something within that happened. Couldn't nobody have made it do that. Nobody could have made it do that. That was something that had to happen from within. That's why I keep on telling us, let's focus from within. And stop looking for all these other outside validations from different outside people that don't share the same spirit qualities that you share. Because I'm gonna tell you, I ain't say cut nobody off or nothing like that right there, because you gotta listen to a person to understand where they at spiritually and where their energy is physically. You know what I'm saying? You gotta listen to a person. People used to say, I was having a conversation with Jack, and he was talking and he was saying one thing, but I know he was lying because I was reading all through it. Reading all through it. You see what I'm saying? Now, what do you think that person was talking about when they said reading all through it? What do you think that person was talking about at that point? Reading all through it. She was talking about some spiritual stuff. And it came off the tongue so fast, you ain't even have a chance to even think about it. See what I'm saying? What are you reading in between? What did you read through? And how did you read through it? I ain't see you pick up no book. I ain't hear your voice. We sat there and heard the same conversation. How did you read through and weed through what that person was talking about, when physically what came out his mouth was something totally different than what you said you read? How did you do that? It was your spirit. And at that time, when you read through something, that was your spirit connecting, telling you the truth. You see what I'm saying? That was your spirit connecting. If you in a good place now, because you can't be in a bad place, that's where your spirit will trick you at. You could be in a bad place and your spirit will tell you something, and that right there is not right. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say you got to focus on your energy, because if you're in a bad place and your energy low, depending on what you're thinking about, you might want to rethink some stuff. If you're in a bad place and your energy is high, now that right there, you know, again, you might want to think about it. But that's why I say you pay attention to your energy, you pay attention to your spirit. Okay? So, yeah, let's see. I'm gonna read some of these. If y'all got some questions, y'all can ask some questions. I ain't, y'all can ask some questions. Yeah, it does go deep. Man, I hate when my phone do this, y'all. I really do. I can hear you. Cool. Speak. This is deep. I said to myself the other day that I really lost myself after mother knows but me. I feel it. You know what? Howard, Lanada, Howard, you know something? And this message right here is for people like you. This message is for people like yourself. Okay. You know what I'm saying? See, me, I lost my son. You see what I'm saying? I still got all my other siblings, all my other kids, I got both of my parents. I got a grandparent still left. Everybody else still intact. I was the first one out my family stem to lose one. Okay? From my parents' stem on back. Okay? And I know the feeling of that right there. But at the same token, I also knew that I couldn't stay there. Even at the time when I was going through it, I knew that right there was a place that I did not want to stay. And you know, deep down in the place, that's a place where you do not want to stay. You don't want to stay there. Nobody want to keep remembering that. Nobody want to keep going through that and remembering that all over again, because what it does is it re-triggers a thing of hurt. It put gas on that fire, you know, that doesn't bring your energy up. Let's just say that. Okay. So that right there is what I mean by we have to disconnect. We have to detach from those things. And I know it may sound hard because, again, we thinking physical. You have to detach from those things on the physical end. And if you know that you can see them on the spiritual end by the way that I just told you, then, hey, that's the new way that you're going to have to transition into learning how to get back in touch with your loved one. From my position, that's the way I had to do it. Now, when I did that, you know what I'm saying? Again, what happened was you start to see it from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get a package deal when you do that. You know what I'm saying? You looking for that one person spiritually. You're gonna have to do the work. You're gonna have to do the spiritual work. Do it by yourself so you can get a clear answer on what path it is that you need to go, not what nobody else need to do. You gonna get that answer. And it's gonna come to you. The thing about it is you gonna trust the answer or not. That's the thing. Because after I knew where I could find my son at, my spirit told me, now, if you keep on doing that physical stuff and holding yourself in grief and keep crying and all this other stuff, just keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with you doing it. My spirit never knocked me. Only thing my spirit told me was what the after effects were going to be. My spirit didn't make me feel bad. That right there is how I knew that it was the truth. When my spirit, hold on, whoever this is, I'm about to call him back. My spirit didn't make me feel bad for that. You know what I'm saying? My spirit simply told me that, listen, Jerome, now that you know that you still in contact with him on this end, it might be a difficult transition period. The transition period of you know, really fixing yourself to learn how to, you know, be with him on this side. It might be a little difficult. But what I will tell you, if you go back there, you know what the end results of that is. And not only that right there, Mr. Jerome, if you do it, you doing it to yourself. So don't expect pity and don't expect none of that stuff from nobody spiritually. Only the physical people gonna give you the pity and all that other stuff. This is what my spirit told me, man. You know, only those people gonna do it. The spiritual people ain't gonna do it because they know that you know what they know. So for a person to do that is almost like you're grabbing for attention at that point. And when I start to look at it from that angle, when I start to see it from that angle, it was like, oh no, because I never been that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? I never been that person to you know, reach out for the sake of, you know, trying to throw attention on myself and nothing like that. Like, no, I don't want it for that purpose. No. So, you know, that right there also helped me hurry up and get up out that rut. Cause again, when you do that right there, you put yourself in vulnerabilityville. Yeah. You put yourself in vulnerabilityville when you do that. And you don't want to do that. That's not a good place to be spiritually. Spiritually, you're never vulnerable in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? You're not vulnerable in a negative way when you speaking spiritually. So you're going to have to learn how to dissect your spiritual from your energy, from your physical. You know what I'm saying? Because again, your physical is the stuff that's being projected back to you. Your spiritual is what's coming out, going outward. You see what I'm saying? So if you know that right there, that your spirit is real, the stuff that's coming back to you cannot be real. That's a different story. That's a different story. Because, well, no, it's not a different story. Because the stuff the reason why I say that is because that means that when I looked at that person in that coffin for the last time, that wasn't real because that person wasn't even there. My son told me he wasn't there. When I gave him, he told me he was not there. And when he told me he wasn't there, he didn't mention nothing about none of that stuff that I seen on the physical end. And it came so clear. It came so clear that you couldn't. You ever had a dream? If you ever had a dream and you woke up, that's what we call a dream. You wasn't dreaming. You was just on another dimension. But if you ever had a dream and you woke up and it felt so real that you was crying and that dream stuck with you damn near the whole day or something like that right there, that's because you really was there. And you really felt it. You really was there. That wasn't just your mind. Again, that right there is just something that people tell you just so you don't know who you are. Make you write it off. That wasn't just your mind. You were there. That's right. And you felt it. You wouldn't have felt it if you wasn't. And the more certain you are about it, you wake up and your energy be so high. That's what made it feel so real. You were there. Remember I was telling you, you got your spirit. And then you got your energy. So when your spirit is there and you wake up and your energy is really high, matching that spirit, that's when it started to feel real. Because your energy was high. If your energy was low, it's just a dream. The temple is you. You talked about the mind. That's your guide. We have to listen live, y'all. I was reading something. We have to listen before we react to anything. The voice is the God spirit, always telling you the truth. It's your choice to make it right. Make the right choice. Hey, and guess what? You can call it whatever you want. Whatever. If this voice that I'm talking about in my mind, if that's God and that's what you want to call it, have at it, baby. You can have at it. You're more than welcome to do so. If you want to call it Allah, Jesus, whatever you want to call it, as long as you know who I'm talking about. There's many people that got many different names for me. They got many different names for me, and everybody know who they be talking about. So, you know, I'm not even tripping that. That's not even up for debate. I'm not even about to debate that. You know what I mean? And that's another thing that you learn when you come down this process. You know, everybody got a nickname. Who knows? You might got a nickname for who that person is inside of you. I seen you at your lowest. I'm glad that peace and understanding has come upon you. Thank you, Kai Patterson. Yeah. So let me see. Y'all got any questions or anything, man? Oh, it's hot in here. Let this window down. Ooh, that's better. Yep, I'm learning as we go, baby. I'm learning as we go. Oh, and that's another thing, too. Fear. Thank you for saying that, Uncle Bobby. Let me touch on that real quick before I get up out of here. If you got any kind of fear, you got to lose that. Fear will not allow you to get there. So, if fear is present, that right there will be like an anchor to you getting to where you got to go. You got to be fearless, baby. That's why I said everybody ain't got this. When I was going through my situation with my son, I told people, man, people was like, man, how is you doing it? How is you doing it? And I'm like, man, shoot, I really couldn't tell you myself, because I ain't know which way I was going. It seemed like I was just there. But maybe somebody seen something that I didn't see or something. I don't know, but this is the way I'm telling you the way I did it. And it was mainly because a lot of what the people feared, like those fear portals. Hey man, it was like I went and took off my shirt and put on my swim trunks and jumped straight off the diving board, straight into the stuff that people didn't want to see or wouldn't dare to go want to see. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did, though. You know what I mean? So that's probably why it turned out the way it did. Because I was looking at stuff that trust me, would have totally crushed anybody. So yeah, in order for you to do that, but see, and in order for me to be able to go inside those dark areas that I was telling y'all about, in order for me to go to, and what is the dark area that I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? The dark areas is them areas that made your energy go low, that you was the pioneer of. You know what I'm saying? So those are the dark areas that I'm talking about. Whatever made your energy drain and your spirit feel low, those are the dark areas that I'm talking about. And people tend to try to avoid those. They don't want to deal with the pain head on because it's too painful emotionally to deal with. So they don't deal with the pain head on. Some of them turn to substance abuse. Some of them turn to religious practices. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Me, I didn't turn to none of that stuff. I went deep inside of it. That's what I did. I went inside of it. I went inside the abyss. See what you got here. See what you got down here. You know what I'm saying? And in order for you to do that, fear won't allow you to do it. Let's just put it to you like that. Fear, that's why I tell you, you got to take fear out of it. Fear won't allow you to do it. And see, I ain't fear none of this stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? I felt normal. For me, uncomfortable, yes. But fear and all the other stuff, for me, it never came across. You know what I'm saying? You probably get a little, anxiety, yeah. But I wasn't scared. Hell, I went through anxiety. I've been going through anxiety for a very long time. When my son had passed, my anxiety and all that stuff, man, that stuff shot through the roof. Do you understand me? It shot through the roof. It blew the roof off my house. I don't even understand. I didn't even know how I was even standing there. And I don't take medication for this stuff. I refuse to take medication for it because the healing come from within. That part I knew. That's the reason why I never took no medication for it. I just never knew how to get to that healing process like that to know the stuff that I know now. And then my son left and they said, now this is the way you're going to get there. You get it now? Hey, spirit, you get it now? I'm like, oh, let me sit down. I think you got me now. You know what I'm saying? Cause nothing else could get me. Could nothing else get me. When you grab to my child, you got my attention. You had my attention in. You see what I'm saying? And you had my full attention. Absolutely. So after getting that message, man, you know what I'm saying? And just listening to it and falling through, because being mad, I understand that right there wasn't going to really change the situation, to be honest with you. Being angry, you know, it really wasn't going to change that situation. But that right there was just you know, being angry, that right there was just a after reaction, for lack of better words, you know, for what had went on, you know what I mean? But once you tapped into that spiritual part, man, and know how to regulate your energy, you know what I'm saying? And dismiss your ego. Dismiss your ego. Well, actually, don't dismiss your ego. Because if you dismiss your ego, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be getting rid of that devil with the pitchfork. You don't want to get rid of the devil with the pitchfork. You know what I'm saying? You want to keep him around. You know what I mean? And then you want to keep the halo person around over here on this side right here. Why do you want to keep the devil with the pitchfork around? Because that one right there is the one that's going to keep the balance going. That one right there is the one that sees a lot of danger and tell you what to do when this right here is putting you against your better, giving you your better guide. So now you guide it better. You guide it a whole lot better. And not only is you guided better, you can see the dangers, because the what you would call this right here person with the pitchfork, he the one that present the danger in front of you. He lets you know that the danger is there, and this person right here tell you which way to move around the danger. Or even if you even gonna go in that danger to begin with. I just taught myself that. Just sitting right here talking to y'all. I teach myself something every time I talk to y'all. I ain't playing. And when you know you done taught yourself something just by telling somebody else something, because it come on to your head like a light bulb. It hit you like, it just cut on like, you know what I mean? Absolutely. All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and end this right here again. Like I said, I'm going to try to make at least a video a day. You can like this video and you can share it to somebody that need to hear this, that you feel need to hear this. Again, some of the truth that I was getting to myself, it came, man, and it cut, and it was like, man, how could you? And I had to take my ego out of it. I'm telling you, I had to, and trust me, it was difficult to do. That's why I say it take a strong person to do this. This, what I'm telling you, is definitely not for the weak. It's definitely not for the weak. Definitely not for the weak. So if you think that you can handle that and you can weather that storm right there, just look for that one person and focus on that one person that you really want to connect with, genuinely want to connect with. You will get there. Trust me. You will get there. But here's the catch though, y'all. This right here was a catch. Once you get there and see it and see how good that right there place felt, it's going to be like a person hitting heroin for the first time and chasing that high again. Man, when my son came to me and I felt so good behind that, man, I've been chasing that high ever since. I've been chasing it ever since. So if it looked like that I may have moved kind of fast in healing and recovery and stuff like that, then that's probably why. Because I've been chasing that right there ever since. But see, here go the thing. In order to chase it, you got to be a certain way. Your spirit got to be a certain way in order for you to get back to that spot. And when I found that out, that means that I had to cut out. I had to detach from a lot of that physical stuff that I once knew and still know, that I'm still trying to detach from the physical aspect from what I grew up with and what I was taught over the years. That's where the difficulty came in the place. But like I said, share this video, y'all. Share it as many times as y'all can. I'm about to get up off of this right here. You can always hit my inbox if y'all got something that y'all want me to talk about in specific about my journey or anything that y'all want to ask me. There is no questions that's really off limits for real. You know what I'm saying? The only questions that don't get answered are the ones that aren't asked. You know, so if you need to know anything, don't be scared, man. Lose that fear. You have got to lose that fear, y'all. Lose the fear. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Your vibration has to be high to communicate with the other side, which let me know that my vibration was high. But here's the thing. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know. When I say I didn't know, I knew that your vibration had to be high in order to communicate with that side. What I didn't know was when my vibration was high. So when it happened, I felt good about it. And then the more and more it kept happening, it went from not feeling good about it, but almost being used to it, to where you used to seeing your kid wake up every day. Only thing that separates is the physical part. So for you that lost your mother that was watching this video, eventually it'll become a part like that right there, where you would get to a point to where you feel like literally, the only thing that separated y'all was her physical body. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. All that stuff, how she acted, her spiritual, all that stuff is still intact, but you got to look at it and from over here. You can't keep looking behind that tree I was telling you about with the egg. You can't keep looking over there because you know it's not there. In other words, physically, you know that this person isn't there. And to keep looking for that person, what my spirit told me, Jerome, for you to keep on looking for that person that you know isn't there, you're going to look crazy. I'm like, crazy? How could you say something like this? I'm telling myself, crazy. How could you tell me something like this? This is what I'm telling myself. But it's like sitting back and letting it burn, baby. I had to sit back and let it burn. Like, man, that might be right, though. But damn, that burned some more. Man, after you done went through all that right there, man. I guess it would be like that tree that started growing after the forest storm done went over. You know what I mean? How stuff just started growing back, man. You start to see the light. You get a different perception. You get a different perspective. And this perspective that you get tells you that where I found myself typically resided in me the whole time. The whole time. I was no longer focused on this right here. On the flesh. On the skin. I was no longer focused on that part because I had that part down to a science. It been like this right here my whole 40 years of living. So I got the physical part. I believe the vast majority, you know what I'm saying, got the physical part down pat. Now, try to have the spiritual part down pat like you got your physical part. When you do that right there, you will then realize that the only thing that separated y'all was the physical. That was it. That was it. Man, that was powerful to me when I figured that out. That wait a minute. So wait a minute. Really? Oh yeah? And when you at that spiritual part, you know, you're not going to come back to the physical and say, okay, well, prove it to me. Where's that true at? Show me in the Bible where it says that that's true at. Or go show me where did you get this from? Did you show me on Google where you got this from? No. This stuff that I'm talking about, you're not going to find in a book. You're going to find within. The stuff that I'm talking about, you're not going to find in a book. You are going to find within. And if you use that book to find what's within, by the time you get the full blast, I don't even think I got my full blast yet. I'm not sure yet, maybe. I don't think I got my full blast, but you know, once you get to a level to where I'm talking about, you will see that, wait a minute, I used the book, but I really didn't need it though, for real. Because I had it in me the whole time. You just never tapped into it. You know what I'm saying? So if the book is there to help you tap into it, right on. Come on with it. I'm all for it. Go get your book. and read these verses, man, so it can get you put on point where you supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Because initially when I started talking about that stuff, what would happen is people would think that I was being sarcastic when I was just asking questions, and the questions that I was asking would go against their belief system. And I just simply asked the question. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, in the beginning, when I started questioning this stuff, I guess that's when I started questioning it from a religious standpoint, not a spiritual standpoint. I wasn't thinking about spirituality when I started questioning religion. You see what I'm saying? I guess I was aiming for spiritual, but didn't know that I was aiming for spiritual. So I was looking at what was presumed to be spiritual. I was looking at that right there as religion. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm going against religion, not the spiritual end that I'm telling y'all about. That was my mind. That's what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to dissect the religious part of it, because at that time, spiritual wasn't even on my mind. It was this religious Holy Ghost thing that everybody was talking about. You know what I mean? That's what it was. And again, and I did mention that they are tools, sis. If those are the things that you needed to get to where you had to go, then like I said, grab them. Let's go. Let's go. Don't hold yourself back another day. Get up out that rut. Get up out that grind. Get up out that, come up out them slumps, man, that you in. Come up out that room. For one, get up out the house. Get up out that house that you've been slumped in, because if you've been slumped in that house and you ain't been able to move at that point in time when you wasn't able to move because you ain't had an injury to do nothing, I would have highly suggested that was the time to do the work. And it ain't never too late to do that. But that right there for me was the time for me to do my work, because it was almost like being in jail where you ain't have nothing to do but think. That was it. Ain't nobody here but you. Ain't no music playing. Ain't no TVs going. Ain't nobody running around the house. None of it. Ain't nobody but just you. And that right there, yeah. Yeah. So, let me see. They are all tools, and it tells you this. People just misinterpret the message. That is true. That is true. And the message that was misinterpreted, that right there is a message that if you teaching a young person from their way up and they're learning and they looking for a way to find out how to get into this, you teaching them young a misinterpreted message. The message may be true for what it is, for what it's supposed to be, but it's misinterpreted, and then it's spewed out through the vision of the person that is teaching it. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to take the word out of the context itself when they give you an example of it. And the example that they're going to give you of it is going to come from them, the spirit in them, so that you can understand. And we call that translation. So they're going to translate what's in the Bible into their own words to make you understand what, Solomon was going through. You know what I'm saying? What Peter was going through. But in all actuality, you don't have to do that. That's what you could do that. I'm telling you, because I do it. I'm telling you, you can do what I can do. The same thing. You could do the same thing. And pretty much all in itself, that's pretty much what Jesus was saying for the ones that want to go that round. That's what Jesus was saying. I'm doing this stuff. You can do it too. Don't be mad at me for me being able to tap into who I really am. If I could tap in or try to tap in or however, hey, you can do the same thing too. And I'm trying to show you how to do it. But then that, for the ones that don't see it that way, them the ones that's going to show their hands. That's when you're going to start to see whose spirit is evil, whose spirit is fake, and all this other stuff. You're going to start to see it. And then you're going to be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Now that you're paying attention, like, oh, and it's going to feel so good, and it's going to draw you in. It's going to draw you in, and it's going to draw you in. Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't got to the part to where I'm moving mountains yet. She said, Jesus said, you could do what I can do and more. You can move mountains, meaning exactly that. The moment you do something spiritual, supernatural, you are the devil and is evil. Nope. Simply moving my mountains take people take things so literal. And that's right. Because y'all got to think about that. When you start tapping into stuff like that, don't let nobody tell you that that's evil. You ain't supposed to be doing that and all. No. You wouldn't be endowed with it if you would, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be equipped with it if you wasn't supposed to use it. You see what I'm saying? Do you go taking water and keep putting it in the freezer if for ice? If you got a working ice maker, that's what it was created to do, make ice. So you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So now that you know that you spiritual and that's within you, you don't have to be sitting up here, you don't have to be sitting up there taking the things literal and out of context. You know exactly who and what we're talking about. Period. You are that's nothing evil. That's your guidance system, man. There ain't nothing evil about that. And for the ones that tell you that that is evil, either they are miseducated, and if they are educated and they do know about this stuff that I'm telling you, then them are the ones that I'm telling you that you watch out for. The bad spirit, they trying to keep you in the spot where you just don't, where you can't, think about nothing. They keeping you at a spot where you can't level up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because the ones that got your best interest at heart, you gonna hear them rooting you on. You gonna feel your roses, even if they don't give them to you physically. You gonna feel it. They gonna get you to where you gotta go, and they ain't gonna do it. They gonna do it with sincerity. It's gonna be sincere. You gonna feel the sincere. You gonna feel the sincereness in that right there when they do it. That's how you gonna know it's genuine, because your spirit is going to align with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, listen, I've been saying I'm about to go for the past forever, man. And y'all just keep on talking me to death. This time. Hey, hit me up. Like I said, hit me up in my inbox or something. If y'all got any questions or anything, just either you can comment, and please share this right here. If y'all think it'll help somebody, you don't need my permission to share. My page is public. And I get back with y'all on the next video. It might be later on today. So, if y'all want to, hey, just check my page. I don't give a definite time because I can't give a definite time. And the reason why I can't give a definite time is because I got to go live when it hit me, because it's more authentic when at that point. You know what I'm saying? When it hit me, when the energy is up and it hit me. Sometimes stuff can hit me, but the energy is never there to go forward. So I don't go live. But when it hit me, telling me to go live, and the energy is up with that, on top of that, I go for it. When that energy rises, the spiritual part telling me to move forward, I typically react to that. You know what I mean? So far I've been working out, though. I ain't gonna lie. So far I've been working out. Y'all have yourself a good day, and let me know. If I could be of assistance somewhere, okay? Y'all have a good one.